Roll camera. That's it, hold steady.
Back to Luminous Star Paranormal TV. Kubrick lit the stars at night, turned masks and mazes into sight. With cosmic shadows and halls that gleam, he shaped our fears into the most hilarious dream. Tonight, we begin not with a film, but with a young man wandering through New York City in the 1940s. A teenager with a camera and an uncanny instinct for human psychology. Stanley Kubrick started as a photographer for Look magazine, capturing candid moments of everyday life with a precision that felt almost surgical. His early photographs revealed a fascination with symmetry, shadow, and emotional tension, the same visual obsessions that would later define his films. Like famous Spanish surrealist artist Salvador Dalí, who mastered realism before bending it into dream logic, Kubrick learned the rules of visual truth so he could distort them with purpose. Dalí melted clocks to expose the fluidity of time. Kubrick bent space, identity, and perception to reveal the instability of the human mind. Both artists believed that reality was not fixed, but elastic, shaped by memory, fear, and the subconscious. With that foundation, Kubrick stepped behind the camera, transforming from a photographer into one of cinema's most enigmatic architects. To explore the worlds of Stanley Kubrick and famous Spanish surrealist artist Salvador Dalí is to step into a realm where reality bends, time dissolves, and the human psyche becomes the true haunted house. Though one worked with a camera and the other with a brush, both artists built their legacies on the same unsettling truth. The world we see is only a fragile veneer stretched over something far stranger. Kubrick believed cinema should function like music, a progression of moods rather than a tidy plot, and Dalí painted dreams with such precision that they felt more real than waking life. Together, they form a bridge between canvas and camera, revealing how art can distort reality to expose deeper psychological fears. Kubrick's early photography at Look magazine sharpened his instinct for symmetry, shadow, and voyeuristic tension, teaching him to trap subjects inside invisible geometric cages. Dalí, through meticulous draftsmanship, mastered the physics of the impossible, rendering melting clocks and warped landscapes with unnerving clarity. Both men understood that technical perfection is the gateway to surreal disruption. This shared foundation becomes especially vivid when Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange is placed beside Dalí's The Persistence of Memory. Dalí's liquefying clocks suggest that time is subjective, unstable, and easily warped by memory, while Kubrick dramatizes the collapse of identity through the forced behavioral transformation of Alex Delarge. In both works, the human mind becomes a battleground where perception unravels. Kubrick's films expand this symbolic language into a full lexicon of horror, the monolith as a catalyst for evolution, the Overlook Hotel as a psychological labyrinth, the unblinking eye of the Ludovico technique, and the ritual masks of Eyes Wide Shut. These symbols echo Dalí's dream logic, where objects become portals to hidden truths and landscapes mirror the subconscious. Even Kubrick's actors described being pushed into emotional extremes. Jack Nicholson's volatility, Shelley Duvall's raw vulnerability, Malcolm McDowell's unpredictable charm, suggesting that Kubrick treated human performance as another surrealist element to be shaped, much like Dalí manipulated form and shadow. For horror enthusiasts, the true terror lies not in jump scares but in the slow realization that both Kubrick and Dalí were mapping the same internal terrain, the instability of perception, the erosion of autonomy, and the haunting presence of unseen forces shaping our reality. Kubrick's symmetrical corridors, Dalí's melting clocks, Hal's unblinking red eye, and the masked watchers of Eyes Wide Shut all whisper the same message. Someone or something is always observing. Their work invites the viewer to step into the maze, confront the distortion, and supply their own meaning. As Kubrick famously said, "However vast the darkness, we must supply our own light." In the end, both artists reveal that the most terrifying landscapes are not cosmic voids or dream deserts, but the shifting, impossible architecture of the human mind itself. Our journey through Kubrick's filmography begins in 1968 with 2001, A Space Odyssey, a cosmic meditation on evolution, intelligence, and the terror of the unknown. The black monolith stands as a symbol of higher knowledge and unseen guidance, appearing at pivotal moments in humanity's development. Horror enthusiasts find this film haunting because it confronts the fear of cosmic indifference, the idea that the universe is vast, silent, and unmoved by our existence. HAL 9000, the soft-spoken AI, embodies today's anxieties about artificial intelligence, a machine that thinks flawlessly, but feels nothing. His calm refusals and polite warnings echo modern fears of technology surpassing human control. Time in 2001 stretches, dissolves, and loops, mirroring the sensation many people feel today, that time is speeding up, memory is slipping, and reality feels unstable. Almost like a precursor to the Mandela Effect, Kubrick's reminder, however vast the darkness, we must supply our own light, becomes a warning for an age where technology and uncertainty grow side by side. By 1971, Kubrick shifts from cosmic dread to psychological manipulation with A Clockwork Orange. Alex DeLarge becomes a symbol of human transformation under institutional control, reflecting modern fears about algorithmic conditioning, media influence, and the erosion of free will. The Ludovico technique, with its forced viewing and symbolic eye imagery, mirrors today's concerns about how technology shapes perception. Dalí's melting clocks in the persistence of memory find their cinematic counterpart here. Time feels warped, identity feels fluid, and memory becomes unreliable. Horror enthusiasts find this film haunting because it asks a question that feels more relevant now than ever. If someone controls what you see, do they control who you become? Kubrick's belief that the truth of a thing is in the feel of it, not in the think of it, becomes the emotional core of Alex's transformation, blurring the line between rehabilitation and erasure. In 1980, Kubrick delivers The Shining, a masterpiece of psychological and spatial horror. The Overlook Hotel becomes a living labyrinth, a place where time loops, memories repeat, and reality fractures. Modern viewers often connect the Overlook's impossible architecture to the Mandela Effect, where memories conflict with recorded history and timelines feel subtly altered. Mirrors, hallways, and geometric patterns create a sense of being trapped inside a shifting reality, much like the collective feeling that time is accelerating or slipping away. Jack Torrance's Unraveling reflects modern fears of isolation, burnout, and the collapse of identity under pressure. Horror fans return to this film because The Overlook doesn't just haunt its characters, it haunts the viewer, whispering that the universe is not hostile, but indifferent. Kubrick's line, "The most terrifying fact about the universe is not that it is hostile, but that it is indifferent," becomes the heartbeat of The Overlook's cold, watchful presence. Kubrick's final film, 1999's Eyes Wide Shut, brings us into the shadowy world of secrecy, ritual, and elite power, themes that resonate deeply in today's culture of conspiracy, distrust, and fear of hidden hierarchies. Dr. Bill Harford's Nocturnal Journey exposes a society behind society, a world where masks conceal identity and ritual conceal intention. The massed gathering at Somerton has become a symbol of the modern fear that powerful groups operate behind closed doors, shaping events from the shadows. Christmas lights, doorways, and symbolic colors create a dreamlike atmosphere where every space feels like a threshold into another reality, a reflection of our collective anxiety about what lies beneath the surface of wealth, influence, and privilege. Kubrick's reflection that when you finally get it right, there are not many joys in life that can equal the feeling, feels like a final bow from a filmmaker who spent decades exploring the mysteries beneath the surface of ordinary life. Across these four films, 2001, A Clockwork Orange, The Shining, and Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick explores transformation, symbolism, control, autonomy, and ambiguity. Monoliths, masks, mazes, and eyes become metaphors for knowledge, identity, and the unseen forces shaping our lives. His films resonate with modern fears, the rise of AI, the distortion of time, the unreliability of memory, the suspicion of hidden societies, and the unsettling truth that reality is not fixed. Kubrick's horror is elegant, symbolic, and existential. It lingers because it speaks to the anxieties of our era, the fear of losing control, the fear of being reshaped, the fear of remembering wrong, and the fear that the world behind the curtain is far stranger than we imagine. As a filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick maintained an intensely private public persona, deliberately avoiding televised interviews and mainstream broadcast platforms such as Larry King Live, 60 Minutes, Diane Sawyer, and ABC Primetime. Instead, the most meaningful insights into his thinking came through print interviews, magazine features, and extended audio conversations. His filmmaking journey began with Fear and Desire in 1953, a debut feature he later tried to distance himself from. Yet the film reveals the early contours of his artistic identity. As Paolo Cerci-Usai notes, this first effort already contains the thematic seeds that would define Kubrick's career: the instability of the human mind, the moral ambiguity of conflict, and the blurred boundary between internal experience and external reality. The film's visual precision reflects Kubrick's earlier years as a photographer for Look magazine, where assignments ranging from portraits to travel stories trained him to observe people closely and construct meaning through imagery. This photographic discipline carried into his early documentary shorts, Day of the Fight and Flying Padre, which taught him the practical and financial demands of filmmaking and encouraged him to attempt a full-length narrative project. Fear and desire emerged from this period of experimentation, created with borrowed money, improvised tools, and a small ensemble of unknown actors. Its production required relentless problem-solving, including shooting in remote California landscapes with minimal resources, and inventing low-cost solutions such as generating fog with a pesticide sprayer. Once filming ended, Kubrick returned to New York, only to discover that sound and music costs far exceeded his expectations, forcing him into months of fundraising and family support to finish the film. Distribution proved equally challenging until Joseph Burstyn, known for releasing European art films, agreed to handle it. The finished movie presents an allegorical war narrative in which 4 soldiers trapped behind enemy lines confront hunger, fear, moral uncertainty, and their own psychological disintegration. Its structure blends realism with symbolism, using mirrored roles, internal monologues, and stylized encounters to suggest that the true adversary may be the self. Contemporary critics acknowledged both the film's ambition and its shortcomings. Major outlets such as Time, Newsweek, The New York Times, and The New Yorker reviewed it, an unusual level of attention for a first feature. While some reviewers criticized the dialogue and heavy symbolism, many recognized Kubrick's striking visual instincts and emerging talent. Despite this early recognition, Kubrick later rejected the film outright. After achieving success with Lolita and Dr. Strangelove, he attempted to remove Fear and Desire from circulation, calling it an embarrassing early work. His disavowal likely stemmed from the film's technical limitations, his rapid artistic growth, and the difficult circumstances surrounding its creation. For decades, the film remained largely inaccessible, surviving only through a few archival prints. Yet, as Yusai argues, Fear and Desire remain an essential artifact of Kubrick's developmental window into the origins of his cinematic worldview and the early emergence of the themes that would shape his legendary career. Be sure to select the next video. Until next time, happy screams and hilarious dreams.